Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Think a tsunami is a scary proposition? Just wait till you see the financial tsunami in store for your 401k plan.
Welcome to the Worry-Free Retirement with best-selling author and fiduciary Tony Walker.
If you got it, you don't need it. If you need it, you don't got it. You don't get it, shame on you. Funny, funny, funny what money can do. Them that have it, get more of it. The less they need it, the more they love it. And it sticks to them like glue. Funny, funny, funny what money can do.
A tsunami, defined as a series of extremely long waves caused by a large and sudden displacement of the ocean, usually the result of an earthquake below or near the ocean floor. This force creates waves that radiate outward in all directions away from their source and sometimes crossing entire ocean basins. Unlike wind-driven waves, which only travel through the topmost layer of an ocean, tsunamis move through the entire water column from the ocean floor to the ocean surface. So the question is, this being a financial show, what in the world do tsunamis have to do with your 401k plan? Well, welcome folks to the Worry-Free Retirement. And yes, I am that little man in the sweater vest, financial tsunami specialist and fiduciary, Tony Walker, and welcome to the Worry-Free Retirement. It's good to have you with us on this October 5th, 2020, and with us in the studio, as always, faithfully producing the show is America's favorite financial sidekick, Mr. Aaron Orander. Good afternoon, actually.
Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, we're filming this on an afternoon, so good afternoon, Mr. Tsunami Specialist.
You didn't know I was a tsunami specialist, did you?
I did not know that.
Yeah. First of all, we had a couple of cancellations. Normally, I don't have any cancellations in the afternoon. We always usually do our radio show first thing in the morning. And that actually was a good idea, Aaron. You said, well, hey, let's just crank out the radio show today. I said, that sounds good. Can I be honest? What's the temperature?
You can always be honest.
Have you seen how nice it is outside? What do you think?
It's beautiful outside.
A driver in my hand on a golf course looks a lot better than you sitting across the studio. But don't take that personally.
Right back at you, sir. I mean, I understand.
Oh, man. But no, we are going to help savers worry less about money. And I think I'm trying to, as we talked in our marketing meeting, over the weekend I had a lot of thoughts about this. I am so concerned for savers out there with all of this money locked up in all of these 401k plans. And again, folks, before you think I'm going to rail on your 401k, I'm not. I've said this for years, 401k plans are great savings tools, but they are absolutely the worst planning tool known to man. And the reason I'm using tsunamis, Aaron, as we talked about this morning, as we planned for this show, is actually, if you really think about a tsunami, I mean, I know we've all seen, we pulled up some video. I mean, and we're not going to slight tsunamis, folks.
No.
The devastation, we're not making fun of this at all, but these things are interesting. I mean, the thought, and we're going somewhere with this, folks, so it's going to help to really understand the makeup of a tsunami, what goes on around the tsunami, and more importantly, listen carefully, more importantly, what the people are doing on the shoreline when the tsunami is brewing. Is that a good way to set that up, Aaron?
Yeah, I'd say that's a good setup.
Because we were all Googling in our marketing meeting tsunamis, and I pulled this definition off. So let's see if we've got it. Amelia ran something here. Tsunami, I'm just glancing at the internet here. Where was that? What was the worst one? Was it the Boxer?
We talked about the Boxing Day. I don't know if they called it the Boxing Day tsunami or if the day that it hit was referred to as Boxing Day. I'm not exactly sure. But the Boxing Day tsunami, I think it was in the early 2000s?
And near the Indian Ocean in 2004 maybe?
Near the Indian Oceans, I think around the Philippines.
Yeah, folks, if you want to look this up or Google it or go to YouTube and just look at some of this stuff. But Here's what's fascinating. From what we could tell, it was literally 500 miles were generated offshore, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the earthquake happens underneath the ocean, so it's not like a big mountain in Hawaii fluming with lava and you can see it from miles away and you can get the heck out of there. So it's under the oceans, under the surface of the ocean. Nobody on the shore 500 miles away. They're on some of these videos I watch, these people are like sunbathing on the shoreline. And you would think a shoreline's safe, right?
Right.
I mean, there's no sharks on the shoreline. You're safe. You're just watching the waves gently roll in. And so this thing's brewing. It's already started. Okay, folks, think about your 401k, and you're going to see this in a minute. We're going to talk about why this 401k is possibly going to get crushed in the future. And when it happens, I'm afraid you're going to get blindsided just like these poor people on the shoreline. So if you watch the speed that these things travel, I think this one hit the shoreline. Now keep in mind, it's 500 miles away roughly in 2 hours, the first wave. So think how fast that water's...
traveling 500 miles in
2 hours.
2 hours. That's like a spaceship.
You went to Florida recently. Were you able to get down there in 2 hours?
I was not able to get down there in 2 hours.
10 maybe, 12?
Yeah, around there. 10, 11 hours, something like that.
So I'm just picturing this. And in some of these videos, by the way, again, you can go YouTube this stuff, but one video in particular, and again, I'm not laughing at the scenario, but it shows somebody, and they've obviously gone to the high ground. It's probably one of the locals. And they look like they're up on a building and they're just filming the ocean. And you can see these white waves way out there, but they're coming. And this person either knew something about tsunamis because they're filming it for a reason. And all of a sudden they go, uh-oh. And it's way across a road and then the beach. So the people on the beach are probably 500 yards away. And they go, and he calls them the tourists. He goes, look at those poor tourists. They have no idea what's getting ready to happen. So they start hollering at the tourists. Well, the tourists can't hear them. Cars are going by. There's like a road that separates this. And this wave is coming and getting closer. And when this thing hits the shoreline, these tsunami waves, folks, can be as high as 30 meters. And what did we say? Winds can get up to like 500 miles an hour as they're pushing this stuff. It's just unbelievable. God-driven, when the forces of nature, as they say it just shows you how powerful God is that can create a force that starts that far and moves that quickly and just literally wipes people out. So I'm trying to give you a very vivid description of not only what a tsunami is, how much it catches people off guard, but more importantly, the destruction it causes. What was the Boxing Day or whatever it was? 200 and some odd thousand people were killed in less than hours. It was crazy. Yeah. I know we're dealing with the COVID-19 and we've lost a couple 100,000 lives, but can you imagine in a period of less than an hour, over 200,000 people dying as a result of this one tsunami? It's unbelievable. So at this point, you're probably dying to know, okay, Tony, what does this have to do with my 401k? Well, when I come back, we're going to talk about the financial waves that are potentially going to swamp your 401k and why, like those poor unsuspecting tourists standing on the beach, clueless about what's about to happen, why we want to get you to safer territory right away. You're listening to The Worry-Free Retirement. I'm Tony Walker. I'll be right back.
How old do you have to be to roll your 401k over?
That is a great question because even I kind of forget to remind people that. Let me kind of go over the rules with a 401k. First of all, let's start with young folks. Even in our own office in our studios here, Megan, we were talking about this. She works with me. She was at a former employer. Megan's a young lady, and she had a 401k. And I was talking to her. I said, hey, Megan, if you ever want us to handle that, let us know. And she goes, what are you talking about? I said, your 401k at your previous employer, you can roll that over to us. And guess what she said? Well, they never told me that. And I laughed and I said, why do you think they didn't tell you that, Megan? They don't want the money leaving. They're charging fees on it. So we're going to be able to show Megan how to roll that over. And we're also going to show her how to save a lot of money over her lifetime in taxes. So first and foremost, a former employer that is a 401k that you have, it doesn't matter your age, we can handle that. Now here's a little known secret that most people don't realize. If you're 59 and a half or older, even if you're still working, listen closely, even if you're still working, in many cases, you can roll that 401k over to us, no taxes, no cost, and we can handle that. Now, why would you want to do that? So we can set a game plan in place and start giving you some reassurance and confidence that you're going to be able to retire. So if you're 59 and a half and older, you can roll it over. Obviously, if you're retired, you can roll the 401k over to us. And then finally, we see people that have been retired for years, and here's what they want me to go over a game plan, and I'll say, by the way, why is your 401k still over there at your former employer? That's been 5 years ago. And they said, again, Tony, just didn't know where to move it. So we tend to help people that really want personalized service. What I've found over the years is they'd rather leave it there, some of them, at least they know where it is, right? Versus maybe going out here and you got some rogue advisor or people out here chasing after your money. By the way, these dinner seminars, that's why they're getting so popular, Tina. They know that all these people are starting to retire, and there's trillions of dollars over the next 10 to 15 years in these 401ks that are probably going to move out into a lot of these advisors' hands. So you better get a handle on it. Get a game plan now, and that's what we can help you with, and in many cases, regardless of your age. It just depends on your circumstances. Whether you're a long-time viewer of the Worry-Free Retirement or just catching it for the first time, know this: you can watch past episodes and educational clips by visiting our YouTube channel. Just log on to youtube.com and search Tony Walker Financial. Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. We're talking about the financial tsunami that's brewing in an area you can't see, and I'm going to tell you about this. Aaron, if you'd been on the shoreline, if there's some way that person that we talked about in the last segment could have walkie-talkied down to you and said, you better get up here right now, there's a tsunami coming, you probably would have gotten off the shoreline.
Right, you'd probably get off. Yeah.
But you can't see it, so...
Right.
Okay. So, folks, right now, imagine you're on the financial shoreline. I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about. I've done this for years. I'm sitting up here perched up, and what we're talking about is this financial tsunami that's brewing. Oh, by the way, before I get into the different things that people need to look out for and how we can help them keep more of their money in their pockets, Aaron, have you ever had an incident in the ocean where, I know you or I wouldn't have survived a tsunami, so we can't say it was that bad, but really and truly, you've been out in the ocean, big waves or whatever, where you got nervous or scared for any reason?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I've been to, we love to go to Florida. And in fact, Jessica's dad is from Florida. He's from Okaloosa Island, which is over there by...
That's Okeechobee.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, the Okaloosa Island's by Fort Walton.
It's by Fort Walton, Destin, all that stuff. Yeah.
Did you know my father-in-law had a place on Okaloosa Island?
I did not know that.
That is wild.
Yeah, Jessica's grandmother, up until recently, she had a place. It was a place called El Matador.
I was going to say, this is Island Echoes.
Oh, okay.
If you said Island Echoes, I was going to say, this is too weird. That's awesome. All right, go ahead.
But yeah, we've been down there to visit, family and in-laws before. And I don't really... not much to the story other than just out there one time, the waves just hit me, and I hit me from behind, and it can just kind of topple you over real quick, and then that undertow grabs you, and you better get up and get out. That's just the best way to say it. You better get up and get out.
I got caught in an undertow. It was a serious one too. It was pretty rough. We were at Vero Beach and in the Atlantic side there, and it was bad. And I was out there showing my kids how to body surf. How you grab a wave, and boy, one pulled me under. And I don't know. I didn't know. I didn't know if I was get up. They say swim sideways, so I didn't know what I was doing. I tried to swim sideways, and I guess I just kind of popped out. But boy, it was scary. I know it was only probably a few seconds, but it felt like. So yeah, folks. So maybe you're feeling like that. Maybe you're concerned. Let's list a few of the concerns and why I think there's a financial earthquake that's already brewing out there. First of all, the concern of this economy. Again, if you're just now joining us, we're recording this show on October 5th, 2020. And as much as I'm hoping and praying the economy comes back, it ain't looking good, folks. We are still in the middle of a pandemic. I won't name the movie theater. I've got a person that's close to this. A lot of the major movie theaters are announcing they're getting ready to close down.
Yeah.
I
saw that yesterday.
Think how many movie theaters there are and all the jobs they provide, and then all the ancillary jobs. Mm-hmm. Popcorn, Pepsis, candies. Folks, I don't know. People that were working in those movie theaters, like one of my family members, they're just closed. That's not to mention all the other jobs out there. So we've got a very uncertain economy. We've got an election year. We've already talked about this. There's only been 4 times that the market has tanked during an election year. The Great Depression, World War II, the dot-com bubble of 2000 and 2008. But we did say that the statistics remind us those were some bad times. Well, we don't think these aren't bad times. We got a pandemic. We got people still not back to work. and we got an election year, and we by the time this is on, we'll know. Hopefully, President Trump is fine, but you got a president of the United States that's got COVID, and he's in the hospital, and I think he's being released today. But my point is, folks, you've just got a lot of things out there with the economy that are so uncertain. So that's potential tsunami number one. That's the first wave that could come crashing in, just the effects it could have on your 401k. The next one is taxes. Now, I know you've heard me talk about the tax tumor. The tax tumor is defined as that amount of money that is inside, it's buried inside your 401k. And contrary to what you think, when you see that 401k statement that comes in the mail or online that says you got $100,000 or $500,000 or $1 million, folks, that money, all that money is not yours. The first in line to get their hands on it is the government. And my question is, at what tax rate? And I'm going to say it once, I'll say it 100 times, Aaron. We got to beat this drum enough so people understand. In 2026, Aaron, the tax laws as they are set now, which are some of the lowest I've seen in a long time, expire. So would you imagine that wave potentially could crash in on people on these 401ks with the taxes being higher or lower?
Absolutely. I believe the taxes will be higher.
I think most people that understand anything about our economy, they'll say higher, and you say, why say higher? Well, our third wave, national debt, deficits. Folks, we have just passed an over $3 trillion stimulus bill. Looks like more is on the way. That is what's called borrowed money. I was quizzing our own Derek Hudson this morning, and Derek was asking a little bit about this stimulus and deficits and kind of, what's the big deal, Tony? And I said, well, okay, Derek, let's say you owed $80,000 in credit card debt, and fortunately he's making more than that here, but let's say he made $10 an hour. Tell me when and how you're ever going to pay that back. Right. And he said, well, I couldn't. I said, exactly. So one of the ways you would pay back debt is you have to get your income up, right? Mm-hmm. You got to have more income. You can't do it on $10 an hour. So Derek would have to go out and make more money. Well, the government's the same way. The government still owes this money. I don't care if it is at 0.1% interest. It's got to be paid back. And one way you pay that back, folks, is through tax revenue, through increased income. And since the government makes the laws, and since the tax laws expire in 2026, it's just should be reasonable that they would consider that as an option. I think one politician referred to it as an arrow in their quiver. One of those arrows is all you got to do is pass a law and raise taxes, from 20% to 40%. And voila, all this money that's locked up in all these 401ks, that's your money. Every dollar of it is going to be taxed when you draw it out. So what in the world are you going to do if they raise taxes to 40 or 50%, which they could? Another wave that's going to be hitting your 401k is the fees. See, a lot of people, when we do charge fees on our Schwab platform, it's 0.8%. But a lot of these money managers out there, they'll tell you that they only make money when you make money. What they don't tell you is they make money even when you do worse. And they're charging some of these people 1.25%, 1.5%. So since you're not spending your money because you've been told not to spend it because you got to hoard it and stockpile it, since you're not spending and enjoying it and you're hoarding your money and you're making more and more money, they're taking more and more in fees, and you can't get that money back. So if we have a huge stock market crash, all the money you paid in fees when the money was high, you can't get that money back. So that's a humongous wave of destruction that could be coming to your 401k plan. Inflation. The inflation to me is not what's going to happen with inflation. We know there's going to be inflation. What I worry about is you wait too long to use this money until it's too late. And then the money's growing, but it's really worth less down the road. So let's say you're 65 or 66. You're waiting to spend money at an age when you may not even be here to spend it, which makes no sense. That's why at Tony Walker Financial, this trademarked concept, we call it the split IRA. Man, it is awesome because what it allows you to do through our Charles Schwab platform is have access to your money so you can use it now. But then with the annuities we use on the back end, it provides that beloved mailbox money so you can enjoy your money now without the fear of running out of it later. If you want to see how that split IRA works, if you got a 401k that's not being managed, maybe you've got one still at a former employer, you've been laid off, whatever, got an old IRA that you transferred over to somebody maybe after a dinner seminar and they're not servicing it, or they slammed you into a bunch of annuities you don't understand, we need to talk, okay? And then finally, lack of planning. The biggest tsunami with your 401k is not necessarily while you're alive, although it's going to be bad enough. It's going to be when you die. because with recent changes in the tax laws, your kids, your grandkids, when you die, now are going to have to deal with that tax tumor within 10 years. They used to be able to string it out over their lifetime.
Wait, you mean that doesn't just die with you when you die?
Ooh, very good.
It doesn't
Aaron.
just all go away magically? The government doesn't just say, well, Tony's dead, we'll just get rid of all this debt. We didn't need all that money anyway.
Yeah, we'll forgive Tony.
We'll just forgive him.
We feel sorry for him.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy. He's dead and gone. No. That's a good point. Not only does everybody show up for bills when you die, the government reminds your kids that they're going to owe taxes on all that money you've saved and at what rate. So when I come back, I'm going to give you a couple of tidbits that you can follow up on with us, all right? This is some good stuff. We're going to give you an action plan to take into the next show. And also, if you've got an urgent need, you're listening to The Worry-Free Retirement. I'm Tony Walker. Have you recently retired, been laid off, or offered a pension buyout? Has the company you work for moved, been acquired, or closed its doors forever? And finally, do you have a 401k with a previous employer you'd like to move to safer territory? Then take advantage of this opportunity to move your 401k or lump sum pension to Tony Walker Financial. Let's meet in person to discuss your retirement options. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to schedule your free, no obligation appointment. Let us help you today. Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. I'm Tony Walker, and in keeping in step with our new segment called the Live Well, Die Broke Moment, I've got an interesting guest on the show today. I'm going to let her kind of introduce herself, but let me set the stage. Okay, over time, we get a lot of people that email us and comment about our TV show and things going on in their life. And this young lady, who we'll call Joy, had an interesting email for us. So first of all, Joy, and you live down in Tennessee, of course, welcome to the Worry-Free Retirement.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. So basically, Joy, let's kind of set the stage. It's in a brief email. I think you had talked about recently your parents had passed away and how life was a little different in a good way for you since your parents died. So could you share a little bit about your parents and the work they did and leading up to their passing away?
Absolutely. My parents worked their entire lives. My mother recently passed away and my father passed away 3 years before that. My father was in real estate and did that his entire career. My mother was an educator and then she went into consulting. So she actually had two careers. They were very frugal with their money, were worried about the future and wanted to make sure that they had the benefits they could while they were, in their retirement. They did lots of traveling. They purchased real estate that my father found. And so they were able to get some wealth from that. And then they invested well. So they had some from my mother's retirement, they were able to invest quite a bit of money and that was able to multiply over time. And so now I have benefited from that with my father passing and then my mother passing. So I've actually been able to quit my job. I was working 50 plus hours a week in retail. With a 10-hour commute each week in Nashville. So it's, it was a lot on my life and my family. I'm a single mother and I have a 9-year-old. So now I've been able to spend more time with him. We've spent a lot of time together in the past 6 months and it's offered me the ability to look towards the future and have peace that I know that I'll be taken care of, that I can do what God wants me to do in my life, and what I really need to be doing versus what I have to do to keep the house over our head and all the other worries that you have, basic necessities.
Yeah, what would you think if your mom and dad were here? Obviously, they'd done a lot of planning, but you think they would be pleased to see that not only they were able to enjoy their money, but now the fruits of their labor have been passed on and allow you to do some things now that you couldn't have done before?
For sure. My mother always wanted me to slow down and enjoy life. And now I'm able to do that. I'm able to take my son to soccer practice. I'm able to enjoy time with my friends and at my house and planning travels in the future.
Well, Joey, thank you so much for your input and your encouraging words for not only myself as I listen to your story and that of your parents, but also our viewers. So you take care and you continue to enjoy that son of yours.
I will. Thank you.
You're welcome. So you may be wondering, how do we roll over 401ks to Tony Walker Financial? How does our seamless process work? Well, to help us understand that is our own Shannon Ross. Good morning to you, Shannon.
Good morning.
And if you could, first of all, Shannon, give us an idea of how many people per month roughly we roll over in terms of 401k plans.
Well, Tony, we open an average of about 40 new brokerage accounts with Charles Schwab, which is our investment platform. And I would say probably at least 75% of those are funded from 401k rollovers.
And you're saying 40 per month, correct?
On average, we open 40 new accounts each month, and most of those are coming from folks needing to roll over their employer-sponsored plans, yes.
So give people, let's say somebody's watching this show right now, Shannon, and maybe they've got an old 401k, they're getting ready to retire, they're over the age of 59 and a half. Walk them through our process of making that contact with their custodian and rolling those 401ks over to our process.
Of course. So, of course, folks are going to talk with Tony or one of our other fellow fiduciaries to get the recommendation to get that money rolled over. And then myself or my assistant Keith reach out to you and make sure we're all on the same page and get your information to get your account established. We've got to have the IRA open in good order to get your 401k rolled into. And then we walk you through the entire process. Most of the time it starts with a phone call, a conference call, which is just a three-way call with myself and you. And then we call the custodian of the 401k, whether it be Fidelity, T. Rowe Price, wherever that 401k is held, to see what they require to get the money rolled over. A lot of times it can be handled right over the phone. Other times there is a form required, and then we, of course, go through the entire process, getting that form in hand and filling it out for you and getting it in good order and submitted on your behalf.
Well, Shannon, we really appreciate it. It really is that simple. So, folks, again, contact Shannon today. If you'd like to set up an appointment, you'll talk with one of us, one of the fiduciaries, and we'll make that happen. Shannon, you have a good day, and appreciate all you do for our clients. That's some good stuff there. So let's get back to the action plan. We are talking about rolling over that 401k. Why are we emphasizing this financial tsunami that's waiting to swamp your 401k? Is because I see it day in and day out, folks. Most of you have no game plan on how to use and enjoy this 401k and protect it so that you won't run out of money. So here's what we need to do. If that's you, if you're sitting there, let's set the parameters. You're retired. You're getting ready to retire. You're over the age of 59 and a half, even if you're still working. You've got a 401k at a former employer, or finally, you've got money that you've rolled to somebody that's not servicing it properly, that did not give you a written game plan, that you don't have a local fiduciary that you can meet with in person, a local retirement planning firm. Here's what you need to do. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or call us at 877-499-9255, 877-499-WALK. And all you're going to do is say, I want to talk to Tony in person or over the phone. Be whatever you'd like to do. We're going to then send you a starter kit, which we're going to ask you to fill out. You can even send that right back, and we can have a phone appointment. You don't even have to come see me on the first one. We did this the other day for somebody out of Indiana, Aaron. It worked beautifully. But here's the key. There is absolutely no cost, and you are not obligated to purchase anything from us. We will provide you this free written game plan, so please take advantage of this now. Log on now, TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Click on that Let's Get Started button, and we'll move on that right away for you. And don't forget, next week we've got an exciting show. We're going to explain our investment philosophy and what we do with Charles Schwab and why that program is growing in so much popularity. But between now and then, you remember, if all else fails, you be worry-free.
If you got it, you don't need it. If you need it, you don't got it. You don't get it, shame on you. Funny, funny, funny what money can do.